Okay, so like I said, if you can't see my screen, please just write me a message in the chat. This is from concept to closet. So really understanding, what goes into the buying process, our journey as buyers to getting the product from the supplier into your closet. So I think one thing to understand is what our retail yearly calendar looks like, because it's a little bit different than your typical calendar. And as you probably all know, it's a little bit off season. So the retail yearly calendar is broken into 4 seasonal drops. So we have a spring summer drop, which goes from February until April, a pre-fall, which goes from May, June, and July, a fall winter, which is August, September, October, and a holiday and resort, which is November to January. And for each of these major fashion seasons, the buyer develops a merchandise plan, including a 6-month merchandising budget, a product assortment plan, and a sales promotional plan in order to drive the business of the store. So one thing that has kind of come up with the recent pandemic is this kind of new shift that I think we're going to see moving forward of the retail calendar hopefully being a little bit more in season. So with that being said, where we would typically start to receive outerwear, for example, in August, hopefully we'll start to see a little shift of things a little bit later, and we'll see that outerwear start to deliver when it's a little bit more seasonally appropriate, such as even September, October. So right now, in a typical year, this year being a little bit different, we would right now be in what we would call pre-fall, but due to the pandemic and everything being closed and everything kind of put on pause for a few months, we're seeing a shift to where pre-fall now won't start to ship until August or September, and then we'll start to receive true fall in October. But that's a little bit different, but something that I think moving forward we might see, which as a buyer I'm actually very excited about, because I think this retail calendar is a little bit confusing to the consumer, and I think it would just be a lot easier to kind of see what you want now on the shelves as opposed to what you're going to want in 2 or 3 months. The cycle of activities is a little bit different, and something too that I think is really important to mention. So moving into the season that we're going into right now, we'll be selling fall 2020, but we'll be event planning for holiday and resort 20 and spring 21 trunk shows. We'll be buying for spring 2021, and Denise will be planning the budget for fall and holiday of 2021. So everything is kind of almost a year ahead, and we're just working in so many different seasons at the same time to kind of just make sure that the year goes smoothly. So although in store it seems like everything is fall, behind the scenes we're actually already working on spring. So these are kind of the main cycles that we go through, not only as buyers, but just as management in general. So the first stage is the planning, which is all done by my eldest sister, Denise. So that's estimating and budgeting sales, making sure that as the creatives, we're not getting ahead of ourselves in terms of product assortment, and we're just kind of staying tight to make sure that we have the perfect balance of fashion, but not being over inventoried, because especially this year, you can tell that was a major kind of crucial factor in the success surviving the pandemic. And then second stage is evaluating. So forecasting future fashion trends. So right now, my trend reporting is actually being done for spring 2021. Even spring 2022, I'm seeing reports for. So one thing we kind of tracked as buyers is what's happening in the interior design space. So interior design is actually almost 2 seasons ahead of fashion in terms of the color trends for the upcoming season. So typically if a color is really popular in upholstery, we'll see it in ready-to-wear textiles even a year or 2 years later. So I really follow that closely. But also you'll see a lot of trends towards what's happening in the geopolitical environment. So for a long, long time, and this was one of the topics of a previous webinar, is sustainability. So sustainability has been a trend that's been on the rise for a while, but it's really just this spring season and next fall that we're really seeing it being a main focus in fashion. So kind of all of those geopolitical things do influence the fashion trends. Then there's procurement, so new brand development, evaluating market offering, purchasing the product. So this is, kind of the biggest job in a sense, because we always are in a way having a ball in front of us to tell us, what you're going to want a year from now. So we have to really kind of look to other markets. So Europe is a big one. Europe is often too a little bit further ahead of North America in terms of trends and what kind of they offer. So all of that's really important, but also finding new brands. There's a lot of amazing talent out there. So we're constantly looking for, something new, something exciting, the new up and coming brand, but also making sure that what they have to offer is really relevant for our customer here in Canada. Then not going to get into a lot of this today, but the other kind of three stages that go on is the merchandising and creative display. So kind of how you see the product once it hits the store. Then there's the promoting. So the special events that we do, the trunk shows, the marketing, our photo shoots, all of that stuff to kind of make sure that we are accurately displaying the looks as we intended them to you once they hit in store. And then our personnel training and product knowledge. We are firm believers that product knowledge is king, especially in our store, making sure that you understand the integrity of the garment. The price is typically a reflection of the fabrication, how it was made. Was it made by hand? Was it made in a country that pays a living wage? All of these things kind of go into that. So it's really important that our personnel in store and our stylists understand that so that they can share that knowledge with you. But also too, we never buy any two collections to look the same. So we never want you to necessarily be head to toe in all one collection. We buy the store as a whole. So the first kind of step is trend reporting and forecasting. So this is something, like I said, I do about a year out in advance. And so, for example, we are going into our spring 2021 market right now. That began in June. And what goes into that is, color trends, also just fits, different silhouettes, what kind of is happening in denim, what is happening in suiting, what is happening in evening wear. Geopolitical, so sustainability is a really important topic right now, but also inclusivity is another hot trend that you'll be seeing. So all of that is kind of done a year in advance. As you can see, something I track is smart versus casual, what's happening there. Both of our stores have a different assortment based on their location, but also color trends, what colors are selling. And as you know, one of the big focuses at Hangar9 is the color analysis theory. So when we go to market, we buy based on that theory. So we buy an assortment of things that'll be suitable for our autumns. We buy an assortment of things that are suitable for our winters, summers, and springs, etc. And there are personality traits that go along with this, and we do buy within that. So for example, if there was a rust-colored sequin dress, for example, an autumn is unlikely to wear a sequin dress. So we would typically not buy into that, because a winter would maybe wear a sequin dress, but they would want it in black or red or in a pop color that suits their palette, not in a rust. And then there's lots of mood boards that go on. So when we travel, we are being inspired. When we go to different markets, different stores, when we just work with different people, we're constantly inspired, and we capture little bits of that as we go along and create these mood boards every season to help us kind of really get a look, feel, and theme for the upcoming season. So these are just a few snapshots of what is coming for fall 20, kind of the aesthetic, the color palette, the textures. This is a picture I took in Puglia, Italy, which is, just really, I loved the color combinations that were there. So although it's kind of food in a grocery stand, it really speaks to kind of a mood for the upcoming season. And then horticulture was a really big theme for spring, and we're seeing that move into the fall winter also with the color palette. So this is just an example of some of the things that we collect as we go. Then we always do a color analysis. So that is based off of the color of the year, which this year was classic blue. Over here, this is a look from Dorothy Schumacher that we have in store now that kind of illustrates that really beautiful color palette. So every season, there's a selection of colors that are prominent or will dominate on the runway, and we do an analysis of that to bring that in store. We focus, though, here much more on the color analysis theory than typical designers. That's not even something that a lot of designers use, unfortunately, to their disadvantage, I think, but that's something that we take into consideration. So we'll create these also mood boards for color. And then we do it also for each individual trend. So this is just an example of one of the big trends, which was antique prints. And these are kind of examples of how we're bringing that trend into the store. But it's not all hard work. So here's just some examples of the amazing showrooms that we get to go into. This is us in New York with Stuart Weitzman, him curating our buy for the stores. This is Eileen Fisher at a great cocktail party that we had with her. So we are super fortunate that we also get to work really close with these world-renowned designers, and it's just fun to really collaborate with them to get their input on what we should carry in store, and you'll get to kind of see the vibe of the showrooms also. So when we go to market, it is just hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of pictures of product on models, different looks, different showrooms. I think I leave any given market week with about 3,000 photos like these of product that we've seen. We also are very fortunate that we have the option to work closely with a lot of designers and customize the pieces. So some of the brands in store that we carry that we have that option with is Stuart Weitzman. I don't know if a lot of you know that Lisa, when she goes to buy Stuart, she actually has the option as a heritage label with him to select not only the shoe style that she wants, but then she can also pick the last, she can pick the heel height, she can pick the fabrication, the color, the skin, if it's embellished or not. So there's so much customization that goes into it. So that's why you'll see at Accents, a lot of the product is exclusive to her. She did the same with Pono, she did the same with Margot Morrison. So there's a lot of customization that goes into our product assortment also to ensure that we're offering our clients something that's unique and different and not what you're going to see everywhere else, even though that product may be available to the mass market, or that label, sorry, that individual style won't be. Susie Rohr, a lot of our Susie Rohr belts are completely customized and specific to Hangar9. Hemisphere sweaters, repeat sweaters, all of those are customized in the sense that we select the garment, or the style, but we customize the color. And you'll see here's a hemisphere color card that I've worked with. This is Mi Zhongli in the bottom left corner, a really fantastic look we did with her. So there's a lot of behind this. So just because the designer designed it one way, we have the flexibility of selecting it in an alternative way that's unique to us. This I wanted to show you. This is a great video of, we had the opportunity to go to Marie's atelier in Montreal, where we saw the presentation of her pre-fall collection. So just so you can kind of see what it looks like behind the scenes. So this is them presenting each style to us as a buyer. We were actually the only ready-wear buyers there. Everyone else was from her internal team, her sales team, and her stores. But this is Marie kind of seeing the garment on the model, seeing how it walks, seeing how it is with movement, and then shooting it for what will eventually end up being her line sheet that she'll present to buyers at market. This is a behind the scenes shot of her atelier. So Marie St. Pierre is one of our favorite designers here at Hangar9, and a collection that we believe really strongly in because so much of it is made by hand. It's true craftsmanship. It's done in a true proper atelier. It is not mass marketed or mass made on a machine. As you can see here are the women that are responsible for the beautiful garments that you wear every day. This was pre-COVID, so obviously I'm sure it looks very different today with social distancing and masks and whatnot, but this is typically what it would look like on any normal day, and this is kind of the women that make it all happen. And then another thing that's just super important to us, as I mentioned, is the matrix. So the matrix is what we call the class of designers that we carry in the store. We have about 72 active brands currently at Hangar9, so it's a lot. And they range from anywhere from undergarments being hanky-panky to Euclid soap to being fine gowns by Mijan Lee to suiting from Max Mara and Marie St. Pierre to large collections such as Dorothy Schumacher that we offer at Trunk Show. So it's really a broad spectrum. We like to think of ourselves as much as we can as a one-stop shop to just make life as easy as possible for you. But we are super inspired by all of these brands. And some of them I'll showcase to you. I'm just going to stop share my screen. Some of them that you probably don't know, I just want to focus on today. So I think everyone on this webinar knows the Marie St. Pierre's of the world, the Dorothy Schumachers of the world, the Max Maras, Rag & Bones, all of those kind of what we would call high-level brands. But we offer so many independent, really amazing kind of success stories of just up-and-coming designers who aren't super well-known, but definitely worth a shout-out, and brands that we think are super important. One I want to talk about is a newer brand for us. Actually, these are all newer brands for us, is Brigitte Hirschgen. It's a collection out of Copenhagen. She has a really amazing story as when she was a young girl, she used to buy patterns and make clothes for her mother's friends. And her mother's friends loved the clothes so much that they actually started paying her to do this. And she kind of, from the age of, I think, 12 or 15, had her own little clothing business that she ran, just making garments for her mother's friends. She later then went on to work for a very high-end atelier designer in Paris who had a relationship with all the best mills in Italy for fabrication. Because Brigitte worked for this woman for many years out of Paris, Brigitte maintained this close relationship and still works with these mills today. So her fabrics are amazing. They are of the caliber that Prada, Gucci, Miu Miu, all of them use, just to kind of give you a close-up. So what you're buying here is really the fabrication, but at an amazing price. So like this dress, for example, retails for $450, $448 actually, not even $450. So it's a really amazing silhouette. We showcased this in our lookbook, which we'll send out a picture of that tomorrow in the recap. But it's a really amazing, and we just felt so inspired by her. She is a mother also of, I believe, 4 girls, all ranging in age. So very similar story to Joanne and all of us. And when she designs something, she ensures that all of her daughters and herself love the piece, love the silhouette, and would wear it. So it crosses the generations and gives you a lot of style for not a lot of money in a beautiful fabrication. One of her more popular tops is this one here, which probably you've seen Joanne wear because she owns it in a few fabrics. But this is a really beautiful lurex silk top. So a really great success story. They are super small business. I think they have 12 to 15 people who work in the head office with them. So really small brand, but beautiful, beautiful garments, and something that is exclusive to us, definitely in London at Hangar9. Another Canadian brand, actually, is Landscape. Primarily suiting, but really kind of cool. So Antonio started at Teen Flow. He then launched Judith and Charles, and now he's broken out and done his own thing with Landscape. It's all made in a menswear mill, so all of the finishings I just want to kind of zoom up on are that of a true menswear, but he has thought of the woman when he designed this. So all of his suiting has shapewear built into it. So it has a mesh insert that hides kind of those wobbly bits at the back. Really great seaming, lots of style, and the fabric is liquid resistant. So you can actually spill on it and it'll just roll right off. Even the dresses, which like, look how beautiful this is. And the fabric is amazing. I wish there was a feel option on Zoom. All has shapewear built throughout. So you don't have to wear a second layer, especially really nice when it's hot like this. You don't have to wear that kind of body armor underneath. It's all built into the dress. And it's kind of sexy. And he's done it really, really well. So that's Antonio Landscape. We had planned to have an event with them this past spring, so hopefully in the fall we'll have a trunk show with them where you'll actually get to meet Antonio himself, because he's got a really great story. He's super well versed in all things fashion, and everything is made mostly, for the most part, in this mill out of Italy. And the fabrics, like I said, are all amazing, mostly menswear fabrics, so really structured, really fabulous. This is one of his other little jersey pieces, a little bit more fun. And again, all has shapewear built within it. So you get that kind of easy look, but it's got the mesh on the inside. So he's really thought of everything. Another designer we love so dearly is a Korean woman named Mi Jong Lee. She's based out of New York. Everything is made in New York in an atelier very similar to what you saw of Marie St. Pierre. She's an incredible designer, an incredible woman. She's got a fantastic life story. I hope to do a webinar with her once kind of things open up for her. She's kind of been crazy because she's actually been producing PPE for the healthcare workers in New York. But she is an amazing designer that we love and is exclusive to us at Hangar9. She does amazing kind of prints like this one here. This is an awesome trapeze dress. It's got great detail at the back, beautiful print. All of the prints are exclusive to her. She customizes a lot of them. She works with a lot of famous artists as well. She also has this amazing satin group, beautiful satin tops. It's the highest quality satin that you can possibly buy. So it's super flattering. It doesn't show. Anybody of any age can wear it. I know my mom has pieces. My sister Denise has pieces. I have pieces. My nieces, all of her bridesmaids are wearing this dress for her wedding next fall. So it's a really beautiful, beautiful fabrication that anyone can wear. And it comes in a whole assortment of amazing colors. She also does beautiful jacquards. She's a really amazing designer. Just gonna go back and share my screen. And then I just wanted to leave you with this really amazing quote, because I think it's super relevant right now. You know, as you're all probably looking at a closet full of clothes and feeling like you don't have anywhere to wear them. But the point is that fashion is the armor to survive the reality of everyday life. I don't think that you can do away with it. It would be like doing away with civilization. And that's from Bill Cunningham, who's a famous Vogue photographer. Who actually passed away this past year. But I think that's a really important testament. Like, fashion and style is the armor that we kind of live every day with. It's how we represent ourselves to the world. So I think it's super important. And at Hangar9, we really try to emphasize, you know, bringing together amazing talent, great brands that can all kind of come together in one place where you can see them as a whole to represent an entire concept, an entire wardrobe. And we also firmly believe that the way that we buy, which is we buy fewer quantities, more SKUs. So we may only have 3 or 4 of any one garment. And that's just to ensure that each and every one of you is styled in a way that is unique and specific to you, and that you're not going to be seen at a party wearing the exact same outfit as somebody else, because each person is thought of as in its own individual canvas, and we try to make sure that we paint that picture as beautifully and as individually as we possibly can. So I'll just open the floor up if there's any questions. Also, there's 24 of us, so if anyone wants to unmute to ask their question, they're welcome to do so also. Okay, awesome. Well, I'll just let you guys all know that next Wednesday, we will be having Marie St. Pierre join us for a live webinar. It's Wednesday at 5 p.m., so I hope that you will all join us for that because it's super exciting, and she's a great designer that we all love so dearly. So and there's baby Grayson.
There's baby Grayson.
So everyone can see my little ham.
See him. He's so good. He listened to the whole thing.
While snoozing. Well, thanks so much for joining us. I hope you all stay well, and we'll see you hopefully in store very soon.